Hi there. In this section you are going to learn about the ellipse. So let's begin. Defining ellipse. An ellipse is the locus of a point in a plane, sum of whose distance from two fixed points is constant. The two fixed points are called the foci of the ellipse. In order to explain this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw this information over here. So let's first consider the ellipse. So my ellipse is this picture right here. I'm going to connect the extreme end of the ellipse. So this is the line that connects the two ends of the ellipse. Let's consider the point here and here, which is basically A and A dash. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider two fixed points on this line, which is basically this point and this point. Let the name of these 2 points are F1 and F2 respectively. So basically this is the ellipse and I have the focus for the ellipse, which is F1 and F2. So basically we have 2 foci for the ellipse. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider few points over here at ellipse. So let my points are P1, P2 and P3. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect F1 and F2 with P1, P2 and P3 respectively. So let's first connect F1 and F2 with P1. You will get this kind of connection. Now let's connect F1 with P2 and then F2 with P2, which is over here. And in the same way, I'm going to connect F1 and F2 with P3, which is over here. Now, if I use the definition of the ellipse, then the distance from F1 and F2 for all these points P1, P2 and P3 respectively should be the same. So we can use the definition and write F1 P1 plus F2 P1, which is over here, is equal to F1 P2 plus F2 P2, which is over here, is equal to F1 P3 plus F2 P3, which is over here, is equal to constant, because that is what the definition of ellipse talks about. Now let's try to understand some more terms of the ellipse. So let's consider the ellipse. This is my ellipse. Now I'm going to connect the extreme ends and let these are the points A and A dash. So the distance between A and A dash is basically known as the major axis, and the length of that distance is basically 2A. In the same way, let's draw a line that passes through the other end of the ellipse and the center of the ellipse. And if we do that, we will get this line, and let these points are B and B dash respectively. B dash is known as the minor axis, and the distance between B and B dash is basically 2B. Now, the point of intersection of major axis and minor axis is this point, which is basically O, which is also the center of the ellipse. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider the foci of the ellipse, which is this point and this point, and let they are F1 and F2 respectively. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a line that passes through F1 and F2 and perpendicular to the major axis. And if I do that, I will get these kind of lines. Now the name of these lines are basically known as latus rectum of the ellipse, because latus rectum is perpendicular to the major axis of the ellipse and passes through foci F1 and F2. Now this point A dash is basically known as vertex, and in the same way A is also known as vertex of the ellipse. So basically the ellipse has two vertex, A and A dash, and two foci F1 and F2. The distance between focus and the center is basically this distance, and that is known as C. And the distance between F2 and O is also known as C. Now let's summarize this whole information. So we can write the length of the major axis of the ellipse is 2A, then the length of the semi-major axis is A. The length of the minor axis of the ellipse is 2B, then the length of semi-minor axis is equal to B. And the distance between the two foci, which is basically F1 and F2, this distance from F1 to F2 is C plus C, which is basically 2C. Now the latus rectum of the ellipse is basically equal to 2B square over A, which is basically the length of these lines that is represented by blue lines, and they are perpendicular to the major axis and passes through foci F1 and F2. And these are the information that we need to know about the ellipse so that we can find other factors and other terms for the ellipse.